Yeah, welcome guys, and as you can see, I've started integrating some of the animational system and different variety of things, and I've been toying with the zoom system because it's been needing some love. Now, this is still a prototype stage, but I wanted to show it so that it can get a good concept to you. Most of the time, people make this dependent on the controller, but I didn't on this one. Now, I've got zoom. It's kind of slow. Of course, you can adjust that. You know how. And I've coded in a lot more debug things. Like in our example class, I put debug. That way, that way, when we're trying to do our weapon setup, we can have a little debug mode where we could turn the canvases off, close them, and our weapons will still work. See how I had it before? It would quit on you, and now I made this debug right here, and I've changed a lot of this. This looks a lot shorter, which is true. It is. And you just put your muzzle flash right here where it says muzzle, and your weapon transform, which we just put whatever name there, and your animator and your weapon object, and that's pretty much it. I've changed the sway behavior into its own little function here, which I'll go over sometime. If you know how the mouse look works, right here, this one, I pretty much did the same thing. The code itself is a lot cleaner. Now I've upgraded the version a little bit right here and started putting in here a summary and more comments and different variety of things. You will not recognize this function right here or this variable right here or this one. This is just a regular integer that we are using for a switch statement right here. This is the new code that you've not seen yet. Now I put this little debug thing here so that way when it updates, it doesn't change the behavior. I'm using the update to change the behavior right here based on my inputs. Just prototype at first so that way we can do a variety of different things. The reason why I have it this way is, remember how I used to have this lerp right here into the position so that when I kick back and do these functions, it will make this will always run to put it backwards, back in its place. That's the reason why I've got this. Now, this function is going to change a little because obviously I need to change just the kickback itself, which we can stuff the variable because it's just coming from this to this. We could put a zoom, a small case statement thing for if the kickback's too much when we're zoomed in. It's no big deal. But I wanted to show this off a little bit because I've started using the animation system that they have right now that's not Betty for the run. And the reason why I did that was because I want the fading. The experimental stuff is not, it's got a crossfade, but in order to go back into another position, you got a crossfade. It doesn't have a function is playing yet. Like anim dot is playing, it got is human match, is control. Doesn't have is playing, which really stinks because I would like for it to have something like that. But it's still Betty. They're still working on it. Because a lot of people like me like to, instead of going in here and doing all these animational states and all that, I'd much rather just do a program of it, really. honestly. Because in all honesty, what I'm doing is just making another controller thing for each weapon when all I have to do is hit run, fire, state, draw. I just want to be able to use the name of the actual animation or whatnot instead of all this other, I don't know, all these variables here and then other places. I just consider it a nightmare. I don't want all these controllers and all these extra stuff. So I just put it as a bool, run. Okay, and here's the code for it. You can pause it and, do your whole copying thing, but that's pretty much the whole function right there. I don't know if I can zoom it out a little bit. What's the key for it again? I don't use it a whole lot. Control minus? Okay, that seems like that might help. Yeah, here it is. The whole thing. So, if you guys want to experiment with it and everything else, there's the code for it. But in order to use this, you have to, well, you'll get it. You'll have to use these two and put a little debug thing in. That way, when you're trying to debug like the positional data like this, if you don't have the debugs like I do in the script, when you go to change your assets, it won't do this. It'll do this. It won't move. Okay, it won't move because I'm on the wrong variable. Okay, which one? The rest position. Okay, see how it doesn't move whatsoever? When I go up to the weapon and click debug and go back to my asset, it will work. See, makes it a whole lot easier. Which, if I wasn't lerping all the time and everything, I wouldn't need it. But it's a procedural way to put your weapon in placement. And just a quick note, if you guys are putting weapons on this thing and everything else, make sure when you first put your weapon, put it below the player controller. Doesn't matter where it is because it doesn't have collision and stuff, but put it below. Because if you don't put it below, when he spawns in, he will do this. Okay? Which, kind of looks stupid. But, yeah. Just thought I'd give you that reminder and things. And, yeah, I've got time. Let's see if we can find this script real quick. Okay. The weapon manager script because oh, yeah, that's the one I changed the name for. You could change the name. That's no big deal. This War Mouse, Bob, Flash, utilities. Did I put it in utilities? Yeah, it sounds like something, a utility. Weapon sway. Now you'll recognize this because it's basically the other thing. Now it doesn't inherit from anything or nothing, but I took off the mono right here. I deleted it because it's own thing. And in order for this to show up in the inspector like you want, right here, where is it? Right here, you have to have this system namespace, and you have to put this serializable, or it will not show up. And that's basically it. Oh, and you got to change this and call the function from your scripts, which if you've followed my other tutorials, you probably know. If not, I'll include it in the next video. But like I said, this is just a little Betty thing that I'm working on currently right now. If you want to follow along, there's the code, and maybe later on today or whatnot, if there's people asking for it, I'll post it to the site like I did before in a text file. So take care. See you later, guys. Like, hit, subscribe.